From the Cervera newsroom in sunny Miami, welcome to the Miami Real Estate Podcast, your home for expert insight on all things Miami real estate. I'm your host, Omar DeWint. Let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to the Miami Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Omar DeWint, Communications Executive here at Cervera Real Estate. Today, we're talking about work-life balance, how to do it, how to be successful, how to stay sane, keep your mind right, and so on and so forth. Walking me through that conversation are two perfect examples of how to do this, Juan Carlos and Juliana Tobon. Juan Carlos, Juliana, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Jamar.
My pleasure. So this is a very, I think, relevant and important topic for everybody in the real estate industry and even outside industries, really, just how to juggle the realities of 2018, this world where we're always connected, never disconnected, so to speak, and families, dogs, work commitments, and everything in between, and how to sort of juggle all of that while, like I said, finding success, but also finding a sort of comfort and happiness, right? You two are going to be leading us through this conversation as two of our perennial top producers here at Cervera Real Estate. Just last year in 2017, you both respectively were at the number 3 spots in both general real estate and our development pre-construction sales. And I have to say, tip my hat off to you, Juliana, because you were pregnant for about 80% of that year. So
Correct.
The fact that you pulled that off, and Juan Carlos, you supported her through that, my hat's off to you both. So before we get into, I know you guys have 3 really good tips for us on work-life balance, but before we get into that, by way of introduction, I'd like for you guys to sort of tell us a little bit about yourselves, your backstory, and sort of what brought us to today. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Juan Carlos, because I read in my notes here that you guys have been dating since your late teens.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about that courtship, sort of who won who over, and then fast forward into your professional life.
Exactly. Thank you, Omar. We met long time ago. Juliana used to go to high school with one of my brothers, so we met back in 2002, 2003, and 4 years after that, we decided that we want to do real estate, okay? Because we bought an apartment as an investment with a realtor, and we liked what that realtor did, and so we decided to get our license. We get it together. We go to all the courses and the exam together. So it was a lot of fun, definitely.
And you met in Colombia or here in?
Here in Miami.
Oh, okay, excellent. And then, so as you started off your career, then what were some of the aspects or early aspects of that where you learned the work-life balance sort of routine?
Something that I think is very important to say here is that having the best partner that you can get is your wife. Mm-hmm. I think is not a friend, is not somebody that you hire, that you're teaching them or trying to work together, but the person that is next to you all the time, trying to help you to grow up and being successful and do the right things. I give you like good examples of everything and talking to you all the time. So I think the best partner that you can have definitely is your wife.
I love that. So I know it was about 7 years ago you both first broke into the Top Producer Circle Club here at Cervera. Is that correct?
Correct.
So walk me through some of the top 3 things that you've learned since that process, right? Specifically in terms of maintaining a work-life balance. Juan Carlos, if you will, walk me through tip number 1.
Okay, I think the tip number 1 is organization. Mm-hmm. Okay, when you know what are you gonna do today, what are you gonna do this week or this coming month, you have everything organized in your calendar. You have a goal for the end of the year, for the end of the month, and for the end of the week. Definitely, you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. And Juliana, anything you want to add on to that?
Yeah, sometimes we share a calendar together, and that help us a lot to keep like sync what we have to do in the personal life, things with our twins, and everything that we do together.
So, and your twins, by the way, have become social media sort of celebrities. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, but I just want to give a shout out to them. What are their names again?
Sarah and Sophia.
Sarah and Sophia. So they're probably a little too young to listen, but
But you know what? The funny thing is that they help me to get clients. It's like while we're like shopping around, like there are a lot of people that they're so cute, and I say, okay, by the way, I'm a real estate agent if you need my service.
That's awesome. So it's not only a bundle of joy, but also an accessory for new business development.
Correct, that's right.
Exactly.
So if there's a reason out there to
have twins.
Yeah,
We didn't plan that.
Right. Sometimes life, just throws extra curveball blessings at you.
Correct.
So let's talk about step number 2, which is building a good team. So Juliana, tell me why this is important and how to do it.
So I think that building a good team is a must. In the beginning was only Juan Carlos and I. Juan Carlos was helping with the showings. I was very good at the paperwork, doing the contracts. But then when we hired an assistant, we got to the next level. The assistant helped us to do the things that they are not important for us to do. It's like we need to get out there, showing our listing, get clients, make the sales, and concentrate in what we do better, that is selling.
Yeah, not only having a good assistant, but also partners. We have
Correct.
partnerships here in Miami. We have partnerships in Colombia. We have partnerships in Venezuela, Argentina. Juliana has a lot of partnerships there. So definitely the business is growing up. Another realtor is not your competition, but they're part of your team. And if you work together and you know how to use them and how to build a relationship, and you're gonna be successful.
And that's something really important. Like the past month, we just sold a unit for $1,060,000 because a co-broker that Juan Carlos went to a trip together to Mexico, they referred me a listing and I sold it in 45 days.
Wow.
So you see, you never know when you're going to be able to get a deal done with that agent.
I think that's a really important message, especially in this modern day and age and super competitive marketplace, because at the end of the day, 100% of zero is zero, right?
Correct.
So I love that, don't feel competitive, instead collaborative. I think a rising tide sort of lifts all boats, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
I like that, Juan Carlos. So tell me about the third critical key to your work-life balance success, and that is focus.
Yes, being focused, I think, is very important also, because mostly here in Miami, you have like a lot of things to do. It's always happening something nice in the city. We have a lot of cocktails. We have a lot of new places to go. We have people calling us every day, every single weekend. So you can get distracted very easily. But I think being focused and having your goals and targets in front of you all the time is very, very important.
Agreed. Juliana, anything you want to add on to that? And Juliana, what helps you stay focused?
It helps me a lot to stay focused, just to have a goal. Like, I want to sell my listings, I want to get the things done, and also being focused in my market. I particularly choose to work and live in the beach club, so my focus is mainly beach club.
And for those that are not fully familiar with Beach Club, tell me geographically where that is in the Florida
So
landscape.
Beach Club is located in Hallandale Beach. Those are beautiful 3 towers, like 1,200 units, and 95% of my income comes from that building.
Wow. Well, so focus, as we talk about here a lot in our branding and marketing podcast episodes, is critical to finding success, not spreading yourself out in this, huge, expansive marketplace. And
Correct.
obviously that's working out very well for you. And I can tell you're passionate about it, because when you talk about Beach Club, like your face lights up. So that's awesome. So we're talking here on the Miami Real Estate Podcast with Juan Carlos and Juliana Tobon. We're talking about work-life balance. So speaking of passion, I know you're both very passionate about traveling. So how does that help you sort of stay sane?
Okay, we like to travel, definitely. We try to do it at least twice a year. It doesn't matter if we go very far or even to Key West, but we like to travel. I think that's a way to reset, Sometimes we need to disconnect for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. But at the same time, I can tell you that when we're in vacation, we still like answering phone calls, emails, closing deals with a pina colada in the other hand. So it's like, we like to vacation, but definitely we're connected also.
And also, while you're on vacations, you like talking with your husband or partner, like gives you the advantage to have new ideas for your business.
I can totally relate to that because I don't know if I've discussed this with you guys in the past, but my wife is also in marketing and PR. So I think some of our best ideas are like over happy hour. You're brainstorming and you can't shut it off, right?
Yeah,
but
of course.
it helps to be able to bounce ideas off somebody like that.
And sometimes it's difficult not to talk about what you like. That we love real estate.
Right. So, okay, cool. And then what else we talked about? So in terms of passion, it's not only in real estate, but what else? Where else do you find passion?
Okay, our passion is to be able to spend life with our family. We're like a lot of family oriented. We like to take time, travel with them, have dinners, get together. So definitely that is an important part. We want to be successful because we want to have time to enjoy with our family.
Absolutely. I think I can totally relate there as well. So in terms of, okay, one other important aspect, and you have this in the show notes, and I'm glad that you do, you talk about finding a coach and why that is a critical key to success, both in probably work-life balance, but generally speaking, and being a top producer. So why do you value the coaching aspect?
Okay, a couple of months ago, we hired a coach, and he's helping us a lot to organize our ideas, our marketing strategy, and definitely is a great tool. It's a great tool. In real estate, we don't have a boss. We don't have Alicia Cervera calling us every week. Hey, did you sell? Did you get that listing? What are you doing? We don't have a boss on top of us. So I think it's important to have somebody like a coach that is pushing you. You need that person behind you. Sometimes we sell an apartment, some of the commissions in pre-construction or general real estate are great commissions. So sometimes we sell a listing and we just can lay back for a couple of weeks. So having a coach is like having that person behind you, calling you, giving you homework to do. And I think it's very important. And we're really, really enjoying that. And not only having a coach where our plan is to double our income, but also doubling the time that we spend with the family and friends and with the kids.
Right. So there's dual benefit there.
Exactly.
And the other day, I mentioned this before, but I have to say it again. The other day, I was speaking to a sales coach, and he mentioned actually was a professor that teaches sales at Florida International, and he was talking about how Tiger Woods and some of the greats of the greats still at their level have coaches. So you're never too old or too good or too experienced to invest in coaching.
Correct.
Exactly.
So what else? Let's talk about for our realtors out there in terms of being a top producer, generally speaking. What advice, Juliana, do you have for new realtors out there?
My advice to our new agents are like find a market, a neighborhood, and stick to it until you become the top agent in that neighborhood. That if they want to give the listing, they just have one choice, you.
So become a specialist.
A specialist in that neighborhood.
And a celebrity
yes,
in that
a
neighborhood.
Celebrity, yes, correct.
Just to pull from the one and only Orlando Montiel, speaking of coaches.
Yes.
It's great advice. So, okay, so find a neighborhood and be a specialist and pick it.
Correct, yeah. And do not get tired because it's going to take you maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but it will get there if you know what to do.
And do you want to add anything onto that, Juan Carlos?
Yes, Juliana mentioned 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. For us to start being the top producers at the Beach Club, it took us 5 years. Okay, 5 years being there every day, every weekend, being focused, knowing your market, knowing the numbers, getting to know more people in the building or in the neighborhood. So that's very important. That's very important. You have to be patient, and
work hard.
People want to get the license sometimes, and they think the first year they're gonna start making a lot of money, and definitely is not gonna happen if you don't focus in a market, in a neighborhood, in a target, and you don't are like very professional and do a lot of marketing, a lot of research, and know your product, you're not going to be the top producer.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the most important things here today in terms of, being patient, having a plan and don't expect necessarily to get rich quick. I think as a realtor, that's a critical piece of advice that I hope as you're listening, if you're taking anything away, I think that should be at the top of the list.
Yep.
So let's go into the rapid fire section. I would like to just throw some quick hitters out for you guys. So number one, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
I will advise my 20 years old self, time manage.
Okay.
Sometimes when we were 20 years old, we think, oh no, we're so young, we have all the time to spend. But if I were 20 years old again, I will think wisely in what to spend the time.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Juan Carlos?
I think read more books. Read more books. I'm not the right person to say that because I'm not really good reading, but that's what I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
I love audiobooks. Yeah.
Audiobooks. I love audiobooks, and
obviously the Miami Real Estate podcast.
Definitely, that's included there. Yeah, I spend a lot of time in my car while I'm driving to my office, which is like 45 minutes from my house, and another 45 minutes going back home. So I try to listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts.
So, in speaking of the time in the car, one of the things we like to ask here is about daily rituals and habits that contribute to your daily success and well-being. So how do you look at the time in the car, Juan Carlos, and how does that, because sometimes in Florida, we were talking about people get antsy about traffic, but what's your perspective and take on how to approach that time in the car?
Omar, people is complaining all the time about anything in general, but mostly about the traffic in Miami. And day by day, year after year, the traffic is not gonna get better. I don't think so. But I really enjoy the time when I'm in my car. I call clients, I call brokers, I call family, of course, and I listen audiobooks. I think it's a time for myself, even though I'm talking to somebody or just learning a little bit more about the market or about life. But I really enjoy the time.
Excellent. It's like a meditation sort of safe, productive space.
Exactly.
Right? Juliana, tell me about your daily rituals.
So my daily rituals is like I wake up early, like at 7 o'clock. I thank God for everything that I have in my life, for my babies, for my husband, for my work and my family. And then I start my day working out. I work out every single day, and that is a time for me.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I wish I could wake up a little bit earlier, but that's I think that's super important. You get out there, the sun's rising, the energy, you get it up.
And I wanted to wake up earlier, but 7 o'clock is my top.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. That's admirable.
I was telling Juliana, sorry to interrupt, yesterday, please don't talk about going to the gym. I don't go to the gym every day. I don't go to the gym every week. So I was telling them, don't go there, please.
Yeah, that's so funny. Well, I was just watching the sidebar here, which I've been known to do, but I was watching this Netflix show called Explained that just came out. And it was about, they do like these 20-minute capsules on random topics and they just sort of explain it as the show implies. And so that one was about why diets fail. And it was interesting to your point about the gym. One of the things they were saying was not necessarily about how much you work out or don't work out. It's really more about, or even paleo diet to the keto diet to South Beach and all those. Yeah. It's really more about your ability to sustain what you're eating, the types of foods that you eat, and having it. So it's not a diet like you use it just to lose weight, but that's your regular way of eating. Like your actual diet is eating certain types of foods. And if you do that and you stick to it, they found that you're more likely to actually lose weight or keep a certain weight rather than having those fluctuations. Yes. So the good news, to wrap that story up on Carlos, is you don't actually have to go to the gym.
Thanks for that.
If you're eating right and consistently. So Juan's like, what are you talking about over there? Our producer. Okay, cool. So let's continue then. Juliana, I know you have a quote, you have a good quote or mantra that you live by. Tell us about that.
I still remember the days that I prayed for the things that I have now. I still remember when I was praying to have my babies, and now when I look at them and I say, oh, how lucky we are to have them in our lives. Yeah.
So it's prayer and affirmation.
Correct. Prayer and affirmation, and to be able to see happiness in what you have.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that. Juan Carlos?
Okay, mine I think is success doesn't come and find you. You have to go get it.
I like it.
Yeah, sometimes we just talk about it. Sometimes people think that they just get their real estate license and they're gonna start making money right away. You need to go out there. You need to start picking up the phone. You need to start knocking at a lot of doors. Travel if you need to, but sitting there with the license in your pocket, nothing is gonna happen. Definitely, you need to work hard for it.
So thinking back on your personal careers, what do you think was the moment where like you went out and saw, like, what was one of those defining moments early in your career where you went out and sought for that success and you achieved it?
Maybe when we start selling a lot of apartments at the beach club. At the beginning, when we moved into the beach club, we didn't realize, first of all, we didn't know that they have a Cervera Real Estate office at the beach club. We didn't work for Cervera back then.
Okay.
But when we start being very focused in that office and being there all the time and start getting know a lot of people around the building, a lot of neighbors, a lot of clients, you feel successful. You know, like when you know your market and people start knowing you for being there all the time. After a couple of years, you said, this is the right track.
I like it. It's going back to the focus and sort of staying committed to what you're doing. So one of the last questions I have for you guys is tell me about what book is on your nightstand. So I'll start with you, Juliana, because I know Juan Carlos prefers the audio book. But tell what book is on your nightstand.
Eat, Pray, and Love from Elizabeth Gilbert.
Okay, so that's a famous book, right? Eat, Pray, Love.
Yes.
And what do you like the most about it?
The most about it is like when you think that you have everything figured out, then you have just to think in yourself and what is really important to connect with yourself.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. I have to put that on my reading list. We've heard some really good recommendations here on the podcast, so I'm going to add that on. And what about you, Juan Carlos? What's on your nightstand?
Mine is it's in my cell phone, not in my nightstand.
Fair enough. This is
an audiobook called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy.
Interesting. We haven't heard that one yet. What's that about?
Okay, it's really, really good. Sometimes we start the day and we have a lot of things to do that day, but the most difficult one, we don't want to do it. I mean, that call or that email that you need to send or that issue that you need to resolve, you leave it for later, and later. And it's 4 o'clock, and you haven't made that call, you haven't fixed that issue, whatever. And that's the first thing that you need to go do in the morning. The most difficult one, you need to pick up the phone and do it or send that email. When you finish that one, the rest of your day is going to be much, much easier.
I like that. So that's a good message for all those procrastinators out there.
Yes, sir.
So I imagine that the frog is the item that you're...
That's a big one.
That you're...
That's the one that you don't want to eat.
Right. Okay, I like it. So before we wind it down, tell me what you guys are up to these days aside from making your twins international celebrities on their Instagram, right? We can't let you go without talking about that. So tell me about.
So while I was pregnant and ready to have the babies, we create an Instagram account for them because obviously they are twins and everybody wants to know how is the life with the twins. So we start posting pictures and there is a video that it was so cute when they were like 2 weeks old and they were cuddling and they got like
120,000 views or something.
Wow.
But we didn't create that Instagram for like everybody. We didn't know. We created for family, friends, and co-workers, to start looking at the pictures of the babies.
That's an interesting idea and a very like modern way to like have a...
Exactly. I mean, I'm not going to be sending pictures every day to all my friends and family about the baby. So I said, let's create this Instagram and let's post those pictures. But the Instagram was open. It wasn't private.
Sure. Yeah.
So when one of the videos, 3 weeks old, it went viral. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Now they have almost 16,000 followers.
Wow.
And we get gifts.
They send
PJs.
Really?
Yes.
So they're like probably one of the youngest influencers out there. That's so funny.
Yes.
And what's the handle? Because I feel like our listeners have to go check. Let's get you a few more followers.
Okay, so it's Tobon Twins.
It's Tobon_twins.
Okay, so it's TOBON_twins.
Correct.
Okay, we got to make sure we're following them all. That's awesome. So before I let you guys go, Juan Carlos and Juliana, tell me about what you guys are up to now, what's happening sort of in your respective fields and in the market. Juan Carlos.
Okay, I have been selling Area on the Bay, which is a beautiful pre-construction project for the past 3 years. We sold 92% of the building, but because it's a huge building with 648 units, we still have like 41, 42 apartments for sale. So I'm finishing with Area. I'm still traveling. I'm still very focused in what I'm doing, but I'm also like very focused in being with my coach. Every week we have a meeting, we're sharing ideas, we're going to start doing more marketing and having our Tobon group team out there.
Excellent. And what about you, Juliana? I know you're in Hallandale Beach, right?
Correct. So like I do a lot of general real estate. I'm trying to get the plan ready for 2019. I like to start 2 months before so I can be on the right track.
Right.
Getting more listings, get the active listings sold, and doing a marketing plan for the next year.
I like that. It's never too early, and now is actually the perfect time for those of you going back to the business plan and being patient. You have to have a plan in place in order to.
We have
And
a
if
lot
you
of
start
great.
before, it's even better because
Exactly.
you still have 2 months before than everybody else.
Right.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
we have good things coming in 2019.
I'm glad to hear that, because
Yeah.
I feel like in the news lately, you guys have probably seen this. What's up with all the negative publicity out there? And I feel like on the ground, we're seeing something a little bit differently, right?
Exactly. No, Miami is Miami. It's a beautiful city. Growing up every single day, every single year is getting better. The market is going up. It's never going down in Miami. We have a beautiful, sunny and beautiful weather here in Miami. Amazing projects, amazing people, the culture. I think Miami is going to be here forever, and we have to spread the word out there, like
Right, as realtors and as
the-
part of the community,
Yes.
on all the amazing things. Speaking of spreading the word, congratulations on that 92% closeout with Aria on the Bay.
Thank you.
I think it's
Thank
really
you.
one of the most beautiful projects in town, and obviously one of the most beautiful views, I think, in the city.
It is.
Yes.
So if you haven't been to Aria on the Bay yet, go check it out. It's located where, Juan Carlos?
It's in Edgewater. Okay, it's in a beautiful area that most of the people in Cervera already know. We have some nice projects over there. It's 488 Northeast 18th Street, okay, in Edgewater. Give me a call. Give me a call. I will give you a tour. We have a beautiful business center there. We have a beautiful party room, beautiful common areas to have an event. If anybody wants to have some nice event there, real estate related, you let me know, and I'm gonna help you with everything.
Excellent. So that's just north of downtown, and for those of you that fancy something a little farther north, you can visit Juliana in the Hallandale Beach office, right?
Yes.
So excellent. So thank you guys. I'll let you get back to it. But before you go, leave me with a final thought for our listeners. Juan Carlos, take us away here.
Okay. I think the message is be patient, be professional, be focused, and don't let the bad press scare you, take you down. This is Miami. It's a beautiful city. So let's do it.
I love it. Juliana, do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I would like to add train yourself. Learn something new every single day now. Take the advantage of all the trainings that you have for the new agents. When I started 15 years ago, we didn't have those trainings. You have to learn everything on yourself.
I love it.
Yeah.
So thank you both. This has been fun. I hope you had fun.
Yes.
And
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
inviting us.
Of course. And thank you all out there for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we certainly enjoyed making it. We hope you will come back. We've got some more great content dedicated to informing, intriguing, and inspiring Miami real estate professionals. Where can you find us? We're on the podcast store wherever podcasts are available. That's iTunes, of course. We're also on Podbean, Spotify, Audible, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Google Play. You can even ask Alexa about us. Go ahead and visit cervera.com/blog. That's where our newsroom is located. We've got some more great content there as well, market reports, and more. You can sign up for our newsletter there. Connect with us on social at CerveraRE, or send us an email, miamirealestatepodcast@cervera.com. We would love to hear from you. So from all of us here in Miami, where the future is always bright,